Brings the field out on the track for tonight's first race. She's our parade marshal. First half the daily double, exacta and trifecta wagering scratch number 1, Fuji Sick. 2, Macaching, owned by Marilyn Sickanesi, driven by Tony Price. Driver Tony Price. 3, Hatali, owned by Roger Bartley. Ray and Roger Bartley Jr. with Ron Stack. 4, Zippy Action, owned by John Zimmerman. Tom Weber. Dave Miller will be aboard. 5, Keystone Guardian, owned by Glenn Wenzel, Daniel Mock, along with the driver Roger Hammer. 6, Sports Award, owned by Ivan Sugg, driven by Duke Sugg. 7 is Hampshire, owned by Sonny Smith with Bill Herman. 8 is Runaway Bunny, owned by Tom Crouch. Kurt Sugg will be in the sulky. Trotters for the first, scratch the 1, Fuji. Tony Price driving 2, Macachee. Field for the first. At the gate and moving up. Field is now in motion. And there they go. They're off and trotting. Sports Award takes the lead. Keystone Guardian being sent along to challenge. There goes Hampshire up on the outside, away nicely to third. They're down the back stretch. Macachee moves in to be fourth as they make their way to the first turn. Hatali. After that, Zippy Action. Runaway Bunny is off stride. Roger Hammer, where he likes it best, is out winging with a 3-length advantage aboard Keystone Guardian. Keystone Guardian cuts this one out. Sports Award is second, Hampshire third, 29-1. Off that top turn and racing past the stands to the half-mile pole. Keystone Guardian will try to make every pole a winning one. Followed by Sports Award in second. Hampshire skims the pylons in third. Followed by Macachee in fourth. After that, Hatali fifth. Zippy Action a closer 6. Runaway Bunny's got some work to do. Trotters are in parade around the clubhouse. Turn to the half-mile pole. Keystone Guardian opens up some daylight of about 4 lengths in a crisp minute and 1/5. 2-year-old Trotting Colt straighten out down the back stretch. On top by 3.5 and going well, Keystone Guardian. Sports Award picks up the chase second. Hampshire doing his best in third. Macachee is fourth. Hatali fifth along the rail. Zippy Action trots up on the outside and Runaway Bunny. Moving by 3/4, Keystone Guardian by 2. Keystone zings them by 3/4, a fast 1:30-1. Here comes Sports Award, though, off the rail. He's up to challenge. Keystone Guardian is there by a diminishing half a length. Sports Award eyes him up on the outside second. Closing up on the far outside, Macachee to third. Hampshire is fourth along the rail. Zippy Action in fifth. Racing through the stretch, Sports Award on the outside. Keystone Guardian on the rail. These two guys are going to sug this one out, but no, it's Duke Sugg to the wire. Sports Award, Keystone Guardian, Macachee third. Sports Award, very nice 2-year-old bay colt by American Winner out of Wharton. Owned and trained in Deschler, Ohio by Ivan Sugg. Driven tonight by J. Duke Sugg. Covering that mile here in 2 minutes and 3/5 to establish a lifetime best. Number 6, Sports Award, the winner. Representing Steeplechase Village Family Rentals in the winner's circle for the trophy presentation, Mr. Craig Walters. Top down, Fuji scratched 6th, Macachee 3rd, Hatali was 6th, Zippy Action 5th, Keystone Guardian 2nd, Sports Award the winner, Hampshire was 4th, Runaway Bunny was 7th. 1 Scoot the Biscuits, owned by Charles Brown, Dave Hawk drives. 2 Humming Strings, owned by John Rogers and Mike Stearns with Rocky Stidham. 3 is Noble Little Bit, owned by Ken and Marianne Gillespie with Dean Gillespie. 4 is Opening Statement, leased by Dan Conkright with Bob Harper aboard. Number 5, Megagen Joe, owned by Kathy Riley with Walter Ferguson Jr. 6, Maddie's Miracle, owned by Pamela Jane Fisher, Al Jones Drive. 7R Bellevue, owned by Ralph Calvert Jr. and Don Feaster. Number 8, Newcomb Vespers, owned by Neil, Alvin Long, Roger Reed, Brad Hanners. Number 9, Racy Rondo, owned by Darrell Chapman with Bobby Arnett. 10, Touch of Summer, owned by Ronald Breechler. Del S. Miller is in the sulky. Trotters for the second, 6 minutes till post time. Starting gate is underway. And there they go. They're off and pacing. The 4 is off stride. Opening statement is on a break. War early on down the backstretch. Maddie's Miracle on the extreme outside. Scoot the Biscuits is off stride. Along the other, 1 makes a nasty break. The 3 got interfered with just the shade. Everybody's going to try to clear this wild horse off stride as they make their way to the first turn. The 1 is now inside the pylons. Everybody is going to go on by the 1. By the opening quarter, Maddie's Miracle is out there by about 4 lengths. Picking up the chase second, Noble Little Bit, and they open up here in 28 3/5. Racing past the stands. Touch of Summer is in the third, followed by Humming Strings in fourth. Next in line, Newcomb Vespers to fifth. Along the rail, Humuggagen Joe is sixth. Starting up on the outside, Our Bellevue to seventh. Here comes Racy Rhonda eighth. Opening statement ninth. Scoot the Biscuits 10th and last. Around the clubhouse turn to the half-mile pole. Bouncing right along up top, Maddie's Miracle continues to lead the way. Noble Little Bit sits the pocket second. Humming Strings first up on the outside third. Reaching the half-mile pole in 101 and 2. Down the backstretch, Touch of Summer to fourth. Fifth on the outside, Our Bellevue. Followed by Newcomb Vespers along the rail in sixth. Racy Rhonda seventh on the outside. Humuggagen Joe, opening statement, far back trailer Scoot the Biscuits, racing by 3/4, getting away now just a little bit. It's Maddie's Miracle in 130 and 1. Moving around the far turn, Maddie's Miracle trying to make every polo-winning one continues to lead the way. Noble Little Bit, the absolutely no excuse journey in here tonight. 3 horses are across the track, vying for command. Along the rail, it's Maddie's Miracle. In between horses, Noble Little Bit. Humming Strings is up on the outside. Noble Little Bit and Maddie's Miracle. Noble Little Bit coming on to get it. Here comes 3, Noble Little Bit. 3-year-old bay filly by Noble Land Sam out of Bit of Falcon. Owned by Ken and Marianne Gillespie of Sedalia. Driven and trained by K. Dean Gillespie, covering the mile in 159 and 3 to establish a lifetime best. Number 3, Noble Little Bit, the unofficial winner. $4 even. Post time 14 minutes away, 8:15. Train number 1, J.R. Frisky Man, owned by LMN Bread, driven by Mitchell Nutt. 2, Go Robbie Go, owned by Inga Nemziski with David Miller. 3 is Shining Image, owned by Richard Shiley with Mike Wilder. 4, Mark Set Go, owned by Susan and Philip James. John Collins will be aboard. 5, T's Last D, owned by Francis and Robert DeMeo with Rocky Stidham. 6, Rambo Leisure, owned by Philip New and Donald Barker with Jack Daly. Little power surge there. 7, Shockham Norm, owned by Richard Alexander with Jeff Fout. Number 8 is HL Fame, owned by Lorraine Young with Elliot Deaton. 9 is Taj, owned by Bobby Whitaker with Mark Winters. 10, My Dad, owned by James Bianchi. Bob Harper will be in the sulky. Field for the third, 6 minutes till post time. Starting gate is underway. And there they go. They're off and pacing. Go Robbie Go between horses takes the lead. Shining Image up on the outside second. J.R. Frisky Man along the rail third. They're down the backstretch. Followed by My Dad in fourth. After that comes Mark Set Go. T's Last D, Rambo Leisure, Shockham Norm, HL Fame, and Taj. As the trailers will have a lot of work to do in here. Go, Robbie Go is out on top. Driving by the opening quarter in 28-2. Past the stands, Shining Image is in the second. Followed by J.R. Frisky Man in third. My Dad's giving the pylons in fourth. Moving up on the outside, Mark Set Go from fifth. T's Last D closing up on the rail. Between horses, Rambo Leisure is seventh. Shockham Norm is eighth. Taj is up on the outside. HL Fame 10th on the rail. They're at the half-mile pole. 5 in, 5 out there, double-decker reaching the halfway point. Go Robbie Go leads, 59-4. They're down the backstretch. Go Robbie Go bouncing along a length and a half. Driving up on the outside, My Dad. Shining Image has got locked in along the rail. Third will have to wait for the passing lane, but My Dad is flattening out just a bit with a little bit more than a quarter of a mile to pace. Go Robbie Go, strong tonight, leads by 2. My Dad circles up on the outside. Shining Image along the rail third. Gap of 3, Rambo Leisure, and along the rail, Mark Set Go, 129. Moving to the head of the stretch. Go Robbie Go continues to lead the way. Mike Wilder draws the sword on Shining Image. My Dad is up on the outside, racing through the stretch. Go Robbie Go. Along the rail, Shining Image. Still holding sway on the outside. My Dad, deep stretch. They're all too late. Go Robbie Go. Going to be tight for second between My Dad, Shining Image, and Rambo Leisure. In the winner's circle is number 2, Go Robbie Go. 3-year-old bay colt by Christmas List out of Stoned Candy. Owned in Sardinia, Ohio by Inga Nemziski. Trained by Leszek Nemziski. Driven tonight by David Miller, going wire to wire here in 159. Make that 158-4. Here comes the field for tonight's 4th race, Tompkin Gear's 2nd division. Purse $16,300, sponsored by Steeplechase Village Family Rentals. 1 is Keystone Lorenzo, owned by Max Hemp, driven by Roger Hammer. 2 is Active Lindy, owned by Tommy Clemens with Jim Daly. 3 is Speedy Geo, owned by Kathy Montgomery and Georgia Simpson with Dick Richardson Jr. 4, Rebel Winner, owned by Robert Key. David Miller will be aboard. 5 is Trade Balance, owned by Yuka Paljarvi and Mikko Lakinen, driven by David Wade. 6 is Cadillac Parlay, owned by the Crimson Lane, driven by Roger Cullifer. 7 is Handover to Bread Fred, owned by Mike Wise. Steve Brennan will be in the sulky. Trotters for the 4th, 6 minutes till post. Field is now in motion. And there they go. They're off and trotting the 4th. A little bit rough at the start. Rebel Winner. Quickly taking command down the middle of the racetrack. Trade Balance. Up on the outside. Cadillac Parlay is on the move to 2nd. Active Lindy gets away a snug 3rd. Handover to Bread Fred. Moves in to be 4th. As they move to the quarter-mile pole, Keystone Lorenzo 5th, gap of 6. Speedy Geo and Rebel Winner. As they move by the opening quarter-mile pole, 3 to 5 favorite Trade Balance gets them by there 29-2. They're off that top turn and trotting past the stands. Trade Balance leads the way well in hand. Cadillac Parlay a little bit closer in 2nd. Active Lindy grinding in 3rd. Keystone Lorenzo comes to the outside. Hand over to Bread Fred is 5th, followed by Speedy Geo, and at the end it's Rebel Winner. Around the clubhouse, turn to the half-mile pole. Trade Balance cuts this one out favorably. They're at the half in 1-1-1. Straightening out for their long track down the backstretch. Trade Balance a length and a half. Keystone Lorenzo's up on the rim, 2nd and challenging. Cadillac Parlay on the bit, rolls back in there third. Hand over to Bread Fred, shakes free on the outside. Active Lindy is fifth. Speedy Geo sixth on the outside. Rebel Winner is seventh along the rail. Trotting to 3/4, hooked up on the front end. Keystone Lorenzo on the outside. Trade Balance along the rail in 1:31. They'll trot the turn and come on home. Fighting back 3/4 of a length to every step. Pace setter Trade Balance. Keystone Lorenzo right alongside in second. Hand over to Brad Fred. Moves up on the outside. Cadillac Parlay. Cocked, locked, and ready to rock. Dave Wade goes to the sword. Trade Balance opens up. It's Trade Balance tight for second. Keystone Lorenzo over Cadillac Parlay. Here comes the Trot King. When this guy goes someplace, you better watch out. Dave Wade and Trade Balance. 2-year-old bay colt by Balanced Image out of Lexi Tree, owned by Yuka Pagliarvi and Mikko Laakkonen of Virginia and Florida, driven and trained coast to coast by the Trot King, Dave Wade. Covering the mile here in 2 minutes and 3/5, lifetime best, remaining unbeaten in 2 career starts. Trade Balance, the winner. Keystone Lorenzo is second, Active Lindy fifth, Speedy Geo sixth, Rebel Winner seventh, Trade Balance the winner, Cadillac Parlay third, hand over to Brad Fred was fourth. 2:56, 7:13, 4 on the bottom. The mile was 2 minutes and 3/5. Grand Debonair, owned by Jerry Grant. Mike Wilder drives to Climate. Owned by Frank and Karen Todd, George Child, Sue Van Lennep with Frank Todd Jr. 3 is Marlin S., owned by Marlon Smith, driven by Jeff Fout. 4, Miss Q, owned by Richard and Joyce McClellan. Dave Rankin will be aboard. 5 is Miss Julia, owned by Roger Bartley and Roger Jr. with Ron Steck. 6 is KF Judy, owned by Henry Kaufman with David Miller. 7 is Boogie Woogie Choo Choo, owned by James Downard and Cliff Downard with John Collins. 8B, Final, owned by Robert Stuckey with Carol Smith. 9 is AJ Supertramp, owned by the Oop Doing Trotting with Brad Hanners. 10, Emma Heather, owned by Robert Lee and Mary Harriott with Jim Daly in the sulky. Trotters for the 5th, 5 minutes till post. Field is now in motion. And there they go. They're off and trotting. Grand Debonair along the rail takes the lead. Quickly between horses, Marlin S. on the move to second. Middle of the racetrack, KF Judy trotting to third. On the far outside, B Final to fourth. Boogie Woogie Choo Choo splitting rivals to fifth. Around the top turn, climbing to sixth. AJ Supertramp. Lead lever from the extreme outside. Underway to the quarter-mile pole, Miss Q is 8th. As they trot by this opening quarter, Miss Julia is 9th. And the trailer is the 10, Emma Heather. They open up in 28-4. Field of fillies and mares in parade past the stands, and KF Judy has now got the top. KF Judy a length and a half. Grand Debonair, the stalker, second. Big Mile on the outside for B Final to third. Around the clubhouse turn, Marlin S is fourth. Boogie Woogie Choo Choo is on the attack from fifth. After that, Climate Control sixth, Racing seventh. AJ Supertramp, Miss Q, Miss Julia, and at the end it's Emma Heather. They're at the half-mile pole in 58 and 4. They're out of the turn and down the backstretch. Every step trot setter KF Judy. B Finals up on the outside. Toward the rail, Grand Debonair third. Here comes Boogie Woogie Choo Choo, three deep on the outside to fourth. Climate is fifth. Marlin S gives way. Far outside, Miss Q closing between horses. AJ Supertramp, followed up on the extreme outside by Emma Heather and Miss Julia. Racing by 3/4, a fast 1:29. Trotting around the far turn. By half a length, she's still there, KF Judy. Boogie Woogie Choo Choo. Climate is up on the outside. Grand Debonair, Miss Q's got 5 to make up. They're into the stretch. KF Judy. Grand Debonair looks for the passing lane. Boogie Woogie Choo Choo is in the center. Climate and Miss Q are both on the far outside. It's going to be KF Judy. Climate second, tight for third. I carry the message out of Oriole Express, owned in Baltimore, Ohio by Henry Kaufman, trained by Mike Metters, driven tonight coast to coast by David Miller, trotting them out in 1:59 and 2 and a lifetime best. Number 6, KF Judy, the unofficial winner of tonight's 5th race. Number 1, Grand Debonair was third, and 7, Boogie Woogie Choo Choo was fourth. Number 1 is Tango Waltz Two-Step, owned by Darrell Lewis along with the driver, Mark Winters. 2 is Rugged Tradition, owned by Roger Remish and John Remish, driven by Don Feaster. 3 is Caleb Special, owned by Pearl Paver with John Collins. Number 4, Crown Time Returns, owned by Esther Crownover with Dan Ader aboard. 5 has been scratched. 6 is Lucky Tradition, owned by Walter Shepner with David Miller. 7 is Holy Dragon, owned by Daniel Meyer with Dave Hawk. 8 is Easy Living, owned by Fred Schroeder, Donnie Conrad. Charlie Conrad will drive. Number 9 is Tank Sabra Scrap. Field is now in motion. And there they go. They're off and pacing. Tango Waltz Two-Step takes the lead. Crown Time Returns, moves up on the outside. Rugged Tradition along the rail. They're down the backstretch. On the far outside, Holy Dragon is on the move to fourth as they make their way to the first turn. Caleb Special. After that, Lucky Tradition and Easy Livin' is the trailer. A lot of drivers deciding what to do in here as they move to the quarter. Dave Hawk knows what to do. He's going to drive right to the front. Here's Holy Dragon up on the outside now, getting the lead by the quarter, 30 1/5. 2-year-olds in parade, racing past the stands. Holy Dragon leads by 2 lengths. Tango Waltz Two-Step, the early pace setter, is into second, followed by Rugged Tradition in third. Crown Time Returns fourth. Caleb Special to the outside, fifth. Lucky Tradition about ready to strike out a sixth, and at the end it's Easy Livin'. Around the clubhouse turn, Holy Dragon, Nolo Contesto on the fronto endo as they move to the half-mile pole. Holy Dragon is there in a soft 102 and 2. They're out of the turn and down the backstretch. Holy Dragon keeps to his task. Tango Waltz Two-Step is second. Here comes Caleb Special, moving up on the outside to third. Rugged Tradition on the pylons fourth. Out and moving once again, Crown Time Returns. Saving ground every step, Lucky Tradition. Easy Living is seventh on the outside. Side by side and stride for stride, racing by 3/4. Dave Hawk opens up some breathing room with the odds-on choice, Holy Dragon, in 132 and 2. Moving around the far turn, Holy Dragon is all alone. Holy Dragon opens up about 4 lengths of daylight. Back on the attack, Tango Waltz Two-Step is into second. The only battle is going to be for second in here because under a double, purple Baby Nelson, Holy Dragon is all alone. Holy Dragon, Tango Waltz Two-Step, Rugged Tradition will finish third. $50 even. 5 with 6 with 5, 7, and 9. Trifecta 187.60. Here's the rundown. Tango Waltz 2-step second. Rugged Tradition third. Caleb Special 6th. Crown Time Returns 5th. Dart and Sam Scratch. Lucky Tradition 4th. Holy Dragon the winner. Easy Living was 7th. Tank Sabra was scratched. 2, 3, 6, 5 scratch 4, 1, 7 scratch, and the mile was 2 minutes and 3/5. Post time for the 7th race, Twin Trifecta. 1, Lions and Tigers and Bears, oh my. Owned by Allison Hensler and Judy Garland, driven by Bob Harper. 2 is My Moira, owned by Dorothy Parker, Rebecca Green, and Glenna Green with Chip Noble. 3 is Sea Spray, owned by Magic Touch, Brian Robbins and Richard Crown with Brad Hanners. 4, Cactus Ann, owned by Tony Clark and Tom Tharps. Randy Tharps will be aboard. 5, Tucson Bridget, owned by Glenn Berg, driven by David Myers. Number 6, Miss Cash, owned by Derek Peterman, Dave Hawk on the bike. 7 is Go Gin Go, owned by Jim Wright with Elliot Deaton. Number 8 is High as an Apple, owned by Larry Moyer with Richard Hosapple. Number 9 is Accolade, owned by Don Glennie and William Ruggiero, driven by David Miller. 10 is Elmhurst Autumn, owned by Bruce Trogdon. Mike Wilder is in the sulky. Back to the starting gate. And there they go. They're off and pacing. Cactus Ann takes the lead. My Moira between horses. There goes Tucson Bridget rolling up on the far outside with Lions and Tigers and Bears, oh my. Quickly gaining back along the rail from 4th. Around the top turn, moving in to be 5th. Sea Spray out of the 2nd tier. Elmhurst Autumn looking for a seat on the outside. Miss Cash. Accolade rolls up on the extreme outside. Go, Gin, Go. And High as an Angel is 10th and last, 27-1. Pretty good speed duel in progress here, racing past the stands. My Moira has brushed to the front. My Moira on top by 2. Racing second, Tucson Bridget. Cactus Ann starts the train from mid-pack 3rd. Lions and Tigers and Bears, oh my. Here comes the roan up on the outside. Elmhurst Autumn around the clubhouse turn. Back in along the rail, Sea Spray 6th. In between horses, Accolade 7th. Miss Cash is 8th. Go Gin Go 9th on the outside. High as an Angel 10th. They reach the half in 57-3. They're down the backstretch. My Moira on top by 2. Tucson Bridget second ahead. Cactus Ann lives on the outside 3rd. The Gray a steady rally on the outside 4th. Elmhurst Autumn along the rail. Lions and Tigers and Bears, oh my. Sea Spray is 6th. Accolade 7th. Go Gin Go between horses. Along the rail comes Miss Cash 10th on the outside. High as an Angel moving by 3/4 in a fast 127-1. Field moves to the head of the stretch. My Moira's got the top. Tucson Bridget rolls up on the outside 2nd. Moving through the stretch. Tucson Bridget. My Moira along the rail. Lions and Tigers and Bears. Oh my. TV Tips Cold Exacta. Tucson Bridget. My Moira 2nd. Lions and Tigers and Bears. Oh my 3rd. John Hanover out of Bridget Bardall. Owned in Delaware, Ohio by the trainer Glenn Bird. Driven tonight by David Myers. Covering them out here in 156-2. That's a lifetime best in 2 in a row for the 5, Tucson Bridget. Windows are now up and on the 8th. 3rd and final division of the Tompkin Gear Stakes for 2-year-old colts. Sponsored by Steeplechase Village Family Rentals. 16-8 the purse in a field of 8. They'll go to the gate in 14 minutes at 9:57. We'll have the results of the twin try here. There it is, the carryover. 96.08. 96.08 in Wednesday night's twin trifecta carryover. 5-2 exacta, 67-20. See, here comes the field for tonight's 8th race, 3rd and final division of the Tompkin Gear Stakes for 2-year-old trotting colts. Number 1, 90210. Owned by Dean Davis, driven by Kurt Sugg. 2, Fungio Cosmos, owned by Ivan Sugg, driven by Duke Sugg. 3, Unbiased Greek, owned by Patrick Brooks with Don Feaster. 4 is Basso, owned by Laura Baker, Doug Gregory, Jim Arledge, and James Morrow with Del S. Miller aboard. 5 is High Noon Winner, owned by Robert Kiewit, David Miller. 6, Mystic Ridge, owned by driver Steve Weller in the Prestige Stable. Number 7 is Frederick Hanover, owned by driver Roger Hammer, Glenn Wenzel, Robert Schweitzer, and Dan Mock. Driven tonight by Roger Hammer. Number 8 is Rathka, owned by driver Ron Cushing, Larry McKeema, and David Struck. That's the field for the 8th. They'll reach the gate in less than 6 minutes. Is now in motion. And there they go. They're off and trotting. 4 and 5 are off stride. Basso and High Noon Winner. With a rush on the far outside to take the lead, it's Frederick Hanover. Jumping off stride further back in the field, Unbiased Greek. They're down the backstretch. Frederick Hanover has got the lead. Jumping off stride further back in the field, Rathka. And by process of elimination, we got another one off stride, Mystic Ridge. Frederick Hanover's got the lead by 10 lengths. Frederick Hanover now takes the lead easily. Moving by the opening quarter, Fangio Cosmos and 90210. They're the top 3 and the only ones on gate by the quarter in 29 and 1/5. Trotters pass the stands. Frederick Hanover leads by 6. Fangio Cosmos second. 90210 moves up on the outside third. Followed by Basso in fourth. Rathka is fifth. After that, High Noon Winner, the Gary Cooper trip in sixth, racing seventh. Unbiased Greek far back, Mystic Ridge. Frederick Hanover gets them by the half in 1 minute and 1/5. They're out of the turn and down the backstretch. Frederick Hanover leads away by about 4 lengths. Fangio Cosmos second. 90210 third. Rathka's made up a ton of ground to take over fourth. Basso, the Profundo horse, along the rail fifth with about 3/8 of a mile to trot. Frederick Hanover continues to lead the way. 90210 swings up on the outside second. Fangio Cosmos to third. Rathka still gaining in the middle of the racetrack, and Basso is fifth in 1:32. 5 will slug this one out to the head of the stretch. 90210 on the outside now gets the lead. Doing his best in second, Frederick Hanover. Rathka trots to the middle of the racetrack. Basso comes to the far outside. In between horses, Fangio Cosmos. 90210. Fangio Cosmos with a rush. The Sug Boys strike it here. 90210. Fangio Cosmos second. Frederick Hanover third. Here's the unofficial winner of tonight's 8th race. Once again sponsored by Steeplechase Village Family Rentals. Number 1, 90210, a 2-year-old bay gelding by Striking Sabra out of Speedy Courier. Owned in Worcester, Ohio by Dean Davis, driven and trained by Kurt Sugg. Covering him out in a lifetime best 203 and 1. Number 1, 90210, the winner of tonight's 3rd and final Tompkin Gears Stake. Windows are now up and on race 9. No changes in the 9th. We'll set a post time here in just a second. The 1-2 exacta, $58.80. The try, $383.60, $383.60. Post time in 14 minutes at 10:17. Basso 4th, High Noon Winner 8th, Mystic Ridge 7th, Frederick Hanover 3rd, Rothko was 5th. Kathy McDonald brings the field off for tonight's 9th race. First leg of the final pick 3. Number 1 is Mingo Road, owned by John Winter, Joan and James Stanley, driven by Doug Routsong. 2, Look Tony, owned by Dale, 1-800 Hit the Roof, and Roger Hammer. Number 3 is Baker Field's Dream, leased and driven by Art Jones. 4, Clearwater Chip, owned by Cheryl Street and Robert Lewis Sr. Brad Hanners will be aboard. 5 is E.C. Walker, owned by Dennis Reed, Jeff Smith in the bike. 6, Sam's Beach, owned by Jim Arledge, George Smith, and John Ankrum with Del S. Miller. Number 7 is Beeler's Boy, owned by David Young with Justin Hall. Number 8 is Marchin' Machine, leased by William Townsend along with the driver Burke Lyons. 9, Ramblin' Louie, owned by John Hellman with Dean Collins. 10, Fritzy Scooter, owned by Bill Fritz and Gerald McHenry. Jim Daly is in the sulky. Folks, late driver change in here. Number 2, Look Tony, being driven by Jerry Kutchback Jr. The trainer, Jerry Kutchback Jr., is going to fill in here for Roger Hammer. Field is now in motion. And there they go. They're off and pacing. Middle of the racetrack. E.C. Walker takes the lead. Joined quickly by Clearwater Chip. Gap of 2 to Look Tony. On the rail, Mingo Road. Joined by Bakerfield's Dream up on the far outside. Fritzy Scooter out of the second tier. Away a snug 6. Midway on the turn. Sam's Beach is into 7th. A gap of 2 lengths. Beeler's Boy to 8th. After that, it's Marchin' Machine 9th. Ramblin' Louie is 10th. Scooting by the opening quarter-mile pole in a good 27-4. Racing past the stands out on top, it's E.C. Walker, a length and a half. Followed by Clearwater Chip in second. Mingo Road is third. Driving up on the outside, Look Tony to fourth. Fritzy Scooter is fifth around the clubhouse turn. Sam's Beach is sixth. Racing seventh, Beeler's Boy. Bakerfield's Dream is up on the outside. Marchin' Machine and Ramblin' Louie, they're at the half-mile pole. Moving away on top by 2 lengths, it's E.C. Walker. They're at the half in 58. They're out of the turn and down the backstretch. E.C. Walker continues to lead the way. Clearwater Chip, Mingo Road, the 10 is absolutely loaded. Fritzy Scooter drives up on the far outside, followed by Look Tony along the rail. After that, it is Sam's Beach, Beeler's Boy, 2 more. Marchin' Machine, Ramblin' Louie in the far back trailer. Bakerfield's Dream racing by 3/4 in, 127-1. Moving around the far turn. E.C. Walker continues to lead the way. Mingo Road is next. Driving up on the far outside, Fritzy Scooter to third. Off the turn in the stretch, they're on their way home. Mingo Road on the outside. E.C. Walker along the rail. Fritzy Scooter closing down the middle of the racetrack. Clearwater Chip is in the center. Tonight's the night for Mingo Road. Mingo Road, Clearwater Chip, Fritzy Scooter third. Here comes the unofficial winner, number 1, Mingo Road. 3-year-old brown colt by chairman of the board out of Brett's June E. Owned by trainer John Winter, Joan and James Stanley. Hard driven tonight by Doug Routsong. Covering them out here in 156-1 and a lifetime best for number 1, Mingo Road, the winner of tonight's 9th race. Windows are open on the 10th. Folks, we do have an 11-race program tonight. We do have 11, so stick around and play the final race superfecta. 10th race, Exacta and Try. Scratch number 3, Carolina Sam injured. Scratch number 3, Carolina Sam. 11th race, scratch 7, Broadway Flame. 10th race, scratch the 3. 11th race, scratch the 7. Post time 15 minutes away at 10:40. 1 for Exacta, $18.20. The Try, $58.40, $58.40. Post time in 14 minutes at 10:40. Here comes Crown Time Stony, owned by Esther Crownover, driven by Dan Ader. 2, Holly Hill Limited, owned by David Decker with Greg Luther. 3, Carolina Sam, scratched injured. 4, Class Con, owned by James Taylor. Jonathan Edwards, driven by Brad Hanners. 5 is Nardy Jeff. owned by Richard and Peggy Payne with Jim Daly on the bike. 6, Shannon Post Time, owned by Deborah Smith with Dean Collins. 7, Tudors Express, owned by Robert Reynolds, driven by Jerry L. Roberts. Number 8 is On the Bean Sam, owned by Ellen and Mike Havens, Jim and Letitia Arledge with Dallas Miller. 9, Yankee Gourmet, owned by Robert Wilson with Ron Carbone. 10, Howdy Hanover, owned by Clarence Ham. David Miller will be in the sulky. Field for the 10th. Post Time in 6 minutes. Scratch 3, Carolina Sam injured. And there they go. They're off and pacing. Crown Time Stoney takes the lead. Nardi Jeff, middle of the racetrack between horses, Class Con. Out of the second tier, Howdy Hanover fourth, looking for a seat, Tudors Express. He'll never see one in here. As they move midway on the turn, Shannon Post Time. Coming quick along the rail, Holly Hill Limited after that. Comes On the Bean Sam, and the trailer midway on the turn, Yankee Gourmet. Seating arrangements are complete. They're by the opening quarter in 28 seconds flat. Marching to the half-mile pole. Driving away on top, Nardi Jeff by a length and a half. Even money favorite is the stalker second, Crown Time Stoney, followed by the Class Con in third. Around the clubhouse turn, Howdy Hanover to fourth. Moving up from between horses, Shannon Post Time. Up on the outside, Holly Hill Limited, getting slung 3 wide, Yankee Gourmet. Around the clubhouse turn, On the Beam, Sam is 8th. 9th up on the outside, Tudors Express. They're at the half in 58 3. They're out of the turn and down the backstretch. Nardi Jeff leads the way. Crown Time Stoney is second. Class Con skims the rail third. Moving up on the outside, Shannon Post Time to fourth. Howdy Hanover got locked in there fifth. Here comes Yankee Gourmet moving up on the outside steadily sixth. Holly Hill Limited is seventh. Tudors Express is eighth. On the Beam Sam ninth. Speeding by 3/4 at 127 4. Moving around the far turn. Nardi Jeff continues to lead the way. Crown Time Stoney is second. Howdy Hanover waited. He got lucky and got out. They're into the stretch and we're down to these 4. Driving away on top, it's Nardi Jeff. Crown Time Stoney. Class Con. Howdy Hanover, Holly Hill Limited. Crown Time Stoney now gets the lead. In the winner's circle, Dan Ader and Crown Time Stoney. 9-year-old Chestnut Gelding by Brett Mahone out of Miracle Kelly. Ona MacArthur by Esther Crownover, trained by Earl Owings. Driven tonight by Dan Ader. Covering the mile here in 156 2. Number 1, Crown Time Stoney, the winner. 1.5 exacta, $13. The try, $117.60. Windows are now open on tonight's 11th and final. Post time in 14. Super effect and exacta wagering number 1, Dark Skies. Owned by Peter Stratton, David Stratton drives. 2, Hot Hornet, owned by Gene Roberts with Mike Wilder. 3, CC, Big Guy Braxton, owned by Sheila Collins, Rainsman Jeff Fout. Number 4, Small But Incredible, owned by Beverly Frost with Dave Majeski. 5 is Equability, owned and driven by Mark Grismore. 6, Chip Champ, owned by Ken Briggs, driven by Sandy Beatty. Number 7, Broadway Flame, has been scratched. 8, Gettysburg Express, owned by Carla Ashers, driven by Bradley Henners. Number 9, Yankee Dragon, owned by Philip New with Jack Daly. 10, HJ Megabucks, owned by Michael Kogar with Randy Tharps in the sulky. Field for the 11th race. Scratch number 7, Broadway Flame. 5 minutes till poke. Starting gate is underway. Field is now in motion. And there they go. They're off and pacing. Equitability takes the lead, middle of the racetrack. Here comes CC, Big Guy Braxton in the second. Small But Incredible away safely to third. Followed by Hot Hornet in fourth. The rail horse Dark Skies to fifth. HJ Megabucks out of the second tier, followed by Chip Champ. After that, Gettysburg Express. Yankee Dragon is the trailer. Field moves to the quarter-mile pole. Driving away on top, the favorite, Equitability. He leads away by 2. Moving by the opening quarter, 28 seconds flat. They're off that top turn and marching past the stands. Equitability leads the way. The 10's flying. HJ Megabucks up on the outside. CC Big Guy Braxton is in the third. Around the clubhouse turn, Hot Hornet to fourth. Dark Skies rolls up on the outside fifth. Saving ground, small but incredible. Gettysburg Express. Chip Champ and the far back trailer is Yankee Dragon off stride. They're at the half in 56 flat. Sparks are flying from the wheel disc, and now they straighten out down the backstretch. HJ Megabucks opens up 5 lengths. Equitability is in the second, gap of 3. CC Big Guy Braxton third. Hot Hornet is fourth. Dark Skies little headway. Nearest the rail, small but incredible. Stuck behind him, Chip Champ. Gettysburg Express has got 4 score and 7 years ago to pick up. And the far back trailer is Yankee Dragon 124 and 2. Free for all non-winners of 1,000 and last 5-star pacers move to the head of the stretch. HJ Megabucks with an 8-length lead. HJ Megabucks. Equitability a distant second. In between horses third. Big Guy Braxton deep stretch. Here's an absolute rocking chair drive. HJ Megabucks. Equitability. CC Big Guy Braxton third, and 4. Small but incredible got up fourth. Here's the unofficial winner of tonight's the 11th race, number 10, HJ Megabucks. 5-year-old brown gelding by Pan Am Sam out of Charlevoix Town Lady. Owned in Clinton, Michigan by Michael Kogar. Trained by Richard Lindsay. Driven tonight by Randy Tharps to a lifetime best of 154 and 2. Knocking 5 2/5 seconds off his lifetime best. Number 10, HJ Megabucks. The winner, number 4, Small But Incredible, got up fourth. 10-5 exacta 31.20. 3 out of 3 in the pick 3, $72.80. We have the super here in a minute, 17-53-60.